So, a few weeks ago, an adaptation of Elden Ring was announced, and it's going to be directed by Alex Garland and produced by A24. Now, Garland is a pretty good writer and director, and A24 have produced some good films, but is an Elden Ring film adaptation really necessary? Let me just say, I am a huge From Software fan, and I love all of their games. Yes, even Dark Souls 2, that game is still absolutely amazing, and I've been a fan of their games since I was like 11. It started when Dark Souls 1 was free with Games with Gold, back when they actually used to release good games, and it quickly became my all time favorite game. I then went on to play the rest of the series, along with Bloodborne and Sekiro, and these games pretty much made up most of my childhood/teenage years, so I have a lot of love for them. I mean, these games pretty much laid the foundation for the friendship between like one of my closest friends and even my stepbrother. We used to all just play them together, do co-op runs, and we even still play them now, like we're doing the seamless co-op mod on Elden Ring. So yeah, these games are really important to me. But the reason that these games are so widely loved is because of the challenging gameplay. These games are able to create a sense of satisfaction that no other game can. That feeling of finally overcoming a boss that you have been stuck on for hours is seriously unmatched. However, you can't really translate this feeling to a film adaptation, as you have no control or involvement in the story. This is someone else's story, and you're just a spectator, really. And this is a serious problem, as this feeling is a core aspect of why the games are so loved. It's not like the game doesn't have a story, as any FromSoft fan will tell you that the lore and world building in any of these games, especially in Elden Ring, is incredible. However, the story always takes a backseat to the gameplay. You could actually complete all of these games and have no idea of what is going on story-wise. Most of the story and lore is hidden in item descriptions, and most players just find out about the story by watching a VatiVidya video. I mean, that's what me and my stepbrother used to do all the time. We would stay up late after playing Dark Souls, and then just watch, I think it was like, what was it, Prepare to Cry? I think that's what the videos were called. But yeah, we used to watch them all the time. So, unless VatiVidya is actually narrating the whole film, it's going to be very difficult translating the story and lore to the big screen. I mean, it's not impossible, but it will be a huge challenge. Another challenge is, what are they actually going to adapt? Is it going to be the entire game? As that will need like at least a trilogy of films that are like 3 hours long, because Elden Ring is a massive game. So who knows? Maybe we will finally get a fantasy trilogy that can rival The Lord of the Rings, but I highly doubt that. I guess they could make it a prequel to the game and adapt all the lore you hear about at the start of the game, or they could create a story set in the world of Elden Ring that focuses on a few characters from within the game. Or maybe they could just do a film about Let Me Solo Her starring Timothy Chalamet. That's a joke, of course, but with Hollywood at the moment, it wouldn't surprise me. But it does lead me to my next point. Who do you even cast in an Elden Ring film? You can't exactly put the typical Hollywood go-tos like Tom Holland, Zendaya, The Rock, or, God forbid, Jack Black. It would just be too distracting, and it would prevent you from being immersed in the film. Honestly, I think the best bet would be to just cast unknown actors and let them build up their careers with this film or film series. At least then it allows for more immersion. However, since this will be A24's most expensive film, I doubt they would take a risk like that. So there's a high chance we will probably see Zendaya as Melania and even Tom Holland as John Elden Ring. I do want to know what the budget will be, as it kind of needs a high budget since all the sets, monsters, costumes, they will need to be practical. Of course, like CGI will be needed because they can't just, have a real dragon. But I don't want them to rely on CGI for everything, which is why it's a good thing that A24 are producing it, as I do believe they will keep it mostly practical, but it is just going to be really expensive and it will take a lot of time to make. But hopefully it can be a thing where it's mostly practical and they use CGI to enhance certain things, like the Lord of the Rings trilogy, because that made those films look timeless. So if we can get something like that, then it could be actually really visually stunning to look at. And practical effects just always look 100 times better than using CGI. It just gets you more immersed into the film. And like I said, if done well, it just looks timeless. I also hope that they do get the people that are working on the film to actually play the game, or at least get some expert to describe the lore in great detail to them. because recently there's been too many video game adaptations where the people working on them disregard or seem to hate the games they are adapting, which only creates a poor adaptation and it just pisses off the fans. I mean, look at The Last of Us Season 2 or even the Halo show. Most of the people involved in those projects were told not to play the games, or they even said they just didn't like the games. And so it's like, why are you even working on the film adaptation then? Go do something else. Don't adapt something you don't even like or you don't know nothing about. It will just make a product that everyone hates. The reason you are adapting this is for the fans, for the people that do love this thing already. So those are the people you want to please. So hopefully, yeah, they do actually get the people working on it to play the games, and hopefully they actually get Miyazaki or George R. R. Martin involved in it to some extent, just to get their input on the film. I do think the only reason we are getting an Elden Ring film is because Hollywood has seen how much of a success the game has been, and they think they can make a profit from it. At the moment, I can't really say that this is being made due to a burning passion, which is unfortunate. Elden Ring was the first FromSoft game to really hit mainstream. I mean, the other games did do really well, but Elden Ring sold like 30 million copies, and they got so many people playing it who had never even played the other games. So it was a great success, which is good, but because of this success, it does mean it will get milked. Since like 2022, we've had the base game, the DLC, Night Rain, and now the film. And it just seems like Hollywood wants to capitalize on this instead of creating something with passion, which is kind of just the go to for modern Hollywood at this point. Hollywood struggle to come up with anything original now, so they just look at any popular game and think, oh yeah, let's adapt that. But they don't realize that those things are popular in their own media form. Like Elden Ring is popular as a game, and it's better to be experienced as a game, and it doesn't need to be a film. Honestly, I think they should have just made an anime adaptation of Elden Ring. The art style and storytelling of the game would translate so much better to an anime than it would a film. And with an anime, you can actually include all of the crazy movesets of the bosses. Any FromSoft game would translate so well to an anime, and it's what the fans have been wanting for so long, so it would be a guaranteed success. There is a rumor that a Bloodborne anime is being worked on, which I really hope so because that would actually be fantastic. But like I said, any of these games would work well as an anime, especially Elden Ring. You know, each you could have each episode be about the main protagonist, the Tarnished, fighting a new boss. You could have so many different seasons of this, and I think it would just work so well. And it would only have to really be action with bits of storytelling and lore sprinkled in throughout, just like the games are. So yeah, I think it's a massive missed opportunity to not turn Elden Ring into an anime. I just find it to be a really baffling decision. Hopefully, the film is successful at adapting the game, as, like I've said, I'm a huge fan of these games, and I don't want anything that involves them to fail. Just imagine if this film flops hard and people unaware of the game just forever link Elden Ring to an awful film on the level of the original Super Mario Bros. Film. Now, I don't think that will be the case, but it's always a possibility. I will definitely watch the film when it comes out, but I can't exactly say that I'm looking forward to it or that I'm actually, excited for it. I'm just at the point where I'm like, why is this a thing? But yeah, I will go to watch it with my mate and my stepbrother just because it's something we all love. So we want to see it succeed. Anyway, those are my thoughts about it. Let me know how you feel about the film in the comments. And if you've played any of the games, let me know which one is your favorite, or even who your favorite boss is. That'll be very interesting. But yeah, thanks for watching.